Tito Trinidad is one of the most exciting fighters in the history of boxing.
Tito is bad.
He inspired fan devotion and adulation like no other.
What impresses me most about Felix Trinidad is his ability to mentally prepare himself for a fight. He seems to come into every fight knowing what he's doing, knowing how to win.
Known for his forward-coming style and devastating power, he knocked opponents dead with his right hand and world-renowned left hook. However, an incident before Trinidad's highly anticipated fight with Bernard Hopkins led to people speculating if Tito's power is legit or the result of something sinister.
I just was talking to Mel Southard of the New York State Athletic Commission, and he said that Felix Trinidad's hand wrap was apparently illegal. Bernard Hopkins' camp is complaining about it, protesting. They want him to re-wrap his hands. Right now, Trinidad has said, if I have to re-wrap, I will not fight. They're in there right now, members of Don King and the New York State Athletic Commission, trying to get this worked out. As soon as we find out a little bit more, we'll let you know. Back to you, Jim. Felix Trinidad has agreed to re-wrap his hands with a lot of consternation from a whole lot of people in this locker room. They finally got it settled. The problem apparently was that his hands were wrapped, according to someone from the Hopkins camp, hard as a cast. Everybody got in there, the New York State Athletic Commission got in there, and somebody convinced him that he had to do this because of the magnitude of the night. Now, as you see right now, they are re-wrapping the right hand. The dispute was only about his right hand. They're re-wrapping it right now. That's his father, Don Felix. There also is someone here from the Hopkins camp and from the New York State Athletic Commission. They're re-wrapping now, and they have someone in the other locker room right now watching and observing the way that Hopkins' hand is being wrapped, and the fight is going on as scheduled. Jim, back to you.
Two fighters, Fernando Vargas and William Joppy, who suffered devastating knockout defeats at the hands of Trinidad, believe Tito entered their fights with an illegal advantage due to his hands being wrapped a specific way.
How hard did Tito hit? I've always wondered that. Like, describe his punching power, because they always say about how hard of a puncher he was, but how hard did he really hit?
Let me ask you a question. Did he hit hard after Nassim Richardson cut him with the wraps? Right? Let me just tell you this. When I went to Puerto Rico for the press conference, because we're gonna fight, somebody came up to me, Garcia, and you could talk to my head Fernando Garcia. Robert, I think Robert was there. Some mega manager of mine that was there too. Ex-manager of mine. So they come up to us after the press conference, and some guy comes up to us and goes, Tito, he goes, Fernando, yo era del equipo de Trinidad. Dije, y a mí que chicos me vale madre, ¿qué? I don't know if you understand Spanish. He goes, Fernando, I was from the Tito Trinidad camp. Man, what the hell does that got to do with me? Motherfucker, what does that matter to me? Well, now, no, I'm going to tell you this, and that's all I'm going to tell you. They can kill me for what I'm going to tell you. Looking back, watch his raps. I said, what? Watch his raps. I said, what in the world? So somebody over there to go, one of my assistant coaches, he went over there and he came back right away. I'm like, they're already done. He goes, yeah, he's done. When we fought, I don't remember bits and pieces of the fight. On the way to after the fight, on the way to the hospital when my wife was in the ambulance with me, the queen, I go, baby, did it look bad when I went down? She goes, baby, you got up every time. I said, what? How many times did I get knocked down? I didn't know that I got knocked down 5 times, and I got up all 5. My wife on the ambulance, and I go, baby, this motherfucker's not human. I go, what do you mean? She goes, what do you mean? I go, I felt like I was getting hit with bats. I go, what do you mean? I felt like an explosion, even a jab would hurt me, and I had never been down in my life prior to that fight. I've never been down in my life as an amateur or pro, And I went down 5 times and I got up all 5. And every fight that I've lost, I ended up on my feet. I ended up on my feet. So they can't say, oh, well, you got knocked out. Nah, I didn't hear nobody counting to 10. So, you know, that's my story. So
have you ever spoken to any other fighters that have fought against him and brought that up?
Well, Naseem Richardson after the fight, what? They made him rewrap, and they said, and then Tito said, if I need to rewrap, I'm not gonna fight. They said, no, you're gonna rewrap, motherfucker. And if you're not gonna rewrap, and you're gonna rewrap and you're gonna fight, or else you're gonna get sued.
And that's the Hopkins fight you're referring to.
Yep.
Speak to me about what you thought about Felix Trinidad being considered for the Hall of Fame. Why you thought he shouldn't be considered?
He should not ever come close to the Hall of Fame, not even on the bottom tier of the Hall of Fame, because he's been illegally wrapping his hands. You know what I mean? That's like if I got in a street fight with somebody and I got brass knuckles on.
Wow.
He's a cheat. Bernard Hopkins exposed him back in 2001. He should never come into the Hall of Fame. If he do, I'm gonna make a whole lot of noise about it. I mean, think about it. I mean, these guys use steroids. They should never become Hall of Famers. Never. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it.
Bernard Hopkins' trainer, Naseem Richardson, the very man who discovered the wrappings were illegal for New York State, explains the situation.
You brought up Trinidad. I know you were the one that originally found, I think it was extra tape in his gloves or some kind of, something illegal was in his glove.
The Trinidad situation, it wasn't in accordance to the laws in New York. The hand wraps weren't proper for the laws in New York. The margarita situation.
Less than 1 hour before fight time, when Mosley's first-time trainer Naseem Richardson went to Margarito's dressing room to check the opponent's hand wraps, he spotted something suspicious. A plaster of Paris-like substance was removed from Margarito's gloves, and suddenly the man who had so brutally beaten up Miguel Cotto the preceding summer would have to enter the ring without his apparently intended illegal ammunition.
Watching him rap, and I just saw the cushion on the table, and I picked it up to check it. And the thing was hard. I told the guy, I said, man, this one got deputy commissioner said, feels all right to me. I said, well, don't feel all right to me. I mean, then the commissioner felt it. The commissioner said, no, that feels pretty hard. And they opened up, and that block fell out, and I almost messed up the whole fight.
Something illegal was in his glove.
The Trinidad situation, it wasn't in accordance to the laws in New York. The hand wraps weren't proper for the laws in New York. The hand wraps weren't proper for the laws in New York. The hand wraps weren't proper for the laws in New York.
Different states have different requirements. What will be approved by the Nevada State Commission may or may not be approved by the New York State Commission. That's really it. Take Floyd Mayweather, for example. He fights exclusively in Las Vegas, Nevada. Why? Because of tax purposes. Prize fighting, and most importantly, being a resident in Las Vegas guarantees Floyd keeps a larger sum of his money compared to boxing and living in NYC or LA. Now, is Floyd Mayweather a tax cheat because he doesn't pay as many taxes as a New York or LA based fighter? Of course not. Floyd is simply using the system to his advantage. And that's how I feel about Tito Trinidad. What he did wasn't illegal in the entire sport of boxing, it just wasn't allowed in that particular state. Tito then rewrapped his hands in accordance with New York State and went on to fight Hopkins. I don't think his punching power and entire career should be engulfed in controversy now. But that's just me.